What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another Angle of Pursuit podcast, your fantasy football, sports betting, and NASCAR home here at fakepigskin.com. I am your host, Kyle Robert. You follow me on the Twitter at NotoriousKRO. With me to break down the final region, the Midwest region, it's Brian Swanning. What's up, Brian?
What's up, Kyle? And yes, this is the Midwest region. Yeah, dude, this one is one of my favorites. I mean, taking aside my Michigan team, but I think this one offers up the most potential for amazing upsets and just amazing like individual play in this particular region.
So we have broken down the East, the West, and the South region. So go check those all out. They're all on our YouTube, as well as in each of the descriptions. You'll find a link to a bracket challenge to join and compete against us for filling out your bracket. We're giving you our thoughts. You can fade us, you can follow us, whatever you want to do. We are here to talk some Midwest. So let's jump into it. Let's look at some of the betting odds and see where your head falls. We are looking at a Illinois team as your favorite to come out of the region at plus 220, 6-1 to win the whole damn thing. But there's some really compelling cases to be made with a lot of these teams, including Oklahoma State, including San Diego State, including Georgia Tech team that's going to drive anyone who plays them nuts. Where's your head at? Where obviously, both of us watched a lot of Illinois basketball in the Big Ten. They're an incredible team. They obviously won the Big Ten championship. Had a nice run to end the season. But what teams are you looking at? What teams interest you? Where do you think there could be potential wild cards in this region?
I mean, when looking at this region, to me, it's clear that Illinois is the head of the class here with Ayo Dosunmu, Kofi Cockburn, Trent Frazier. I mean, Miller on the outside. This team is loaded. And then you go down the list and you're looking at Houston, who I think a lot of people are going to sleep on here with. Oklahoma State is probably going to be the second favorite out of this Midwest region after seeing what Cade Cunningham was able to do on an individual level. But outside of Cade Cunningham, this Oklahoma State team is not loaded with a ton of top recruited talent or guys that could take over a game if it need be. So if they were ever in a situation where Cunningham was to get in foul trouble, they'd be in some trouble. And then you go down to, in my neck of the woods, the San Diego State Aztecs, who a lot of people don't get a chance to see play just because they play really late at night and a lot of their games aren't even on TV. Yeah, San Diego TV sucks. To me, I don't think this is one of their best teams. They're not really as deep as previous Aztec teams. They're not as guard laden. They have one big guy, so I do think that's going to be a detriment to them. And their first round matchup going against the Syracuse Orange, who I don't feel shouldn't even be in the tournament, is going to offer some tremendous, kickback on what San Diego State wants to do on offense with that 2-3 zone. So for me, it's easily Illinois should be the favorite, and I think they are the clear-cut best.
Yeah. Team. There's a lot going on here. I think Syracuse's first round matchup with San Diego State is going to be a challenge for them. And looking at the betting odds, the money is coming 60% on San Diego State, despite only 43% of the bets. Tells you a lot more money is coming in on San Diego State. I think that's one where a lot of people will go, "Oh, I know Syracuse. Let's put them in and have them move forward." And I think that's probably a San Diego State win, but weirder things happen. I will say Oklahoma State went to West Virginia and got a win without Cade Cunningham, something that I was worried a little bit about them being able to do. So that did show me a little bit where if Cunningham's in a little bit of foul trouble or has to sit for a bit, they can kind of muddy the waters enough to get through it. But yeah, he is super important to what they do, but he's also such a transcendent player that he could be a guy that makes a huge leap and ends up becoming like a Kevin Durant, a Carmelo Anthony, a guy who dominates. Kemba Walker, yeah, even Shabazz Napier, dominates the whole tournament and really pushes Oklahoma State on a big run. And Big Ten and Big 12 played a lot of really tough teams all year long. I think setting them up to be in a nice spot here. West Virginia, I don't know what to do with them because like they're good, but are they like that good? Are they like could they come out of this region good, or are they just going to be annoying? And Huggy Bear is going to have his team, coached up to be, kind of that team that makes things rough on whoever they play.
Yeah, I don't really know what to think about this West Virginia team because I was one of the people that was backing them during that stretch when they got the Cade Cunningham-less Oklahoma State Cowboys and they fell to them. They still play that an annoying style of defense, and I don't see them having that like lights out shooter on the outside. I mean, they have a big guy down low, Derek Culver, but yeah, I just don't really know who on West Virginia is going to be able to be that go-to guy in that end of game situation in the tournament when the pressure is really on. I mean, even in this first round matchup against a Morehead State team, that's a good opponent from a lesser known conference that they haven't had a lot of opportunities to practice against and or game plan against because they're probably not looking at very much film from that conference. So, West Virginia doesn't really scare me just because of their inability to kind of have that one guy to take over a game, which is in the NCAA tournament. You kind of need that.
Yeah. A couple interesting, from a betting perspective, a couple interesting matchups. I think the Loyola Georgia Tech game is incredibly compelling. I kind of feel bad for Loyola because based on KenPom numbers, they should be ranked a lot higher than 8th, and they get a tough draw in Georgia Tech, who is going to be physical, who's going to press you. They have their point guard is going to put a lot of pressure on the ball. And I think, like looking at the betting odds right now, it's like a 2.5 point spread with Loyola as a favorite, but 80% of the money is coming in on Georgia Tech despite only 33% of the bets. So that says, they expect Georgia Tech to make things annoying. I think that will be a really compelling contest for Illinois, although I don't know if they have the size to compete with Kofi Cockburn. So we'll see how that pans out. I also think Oregon State's really interesting and going up against Tennessee. I think that is, it is a really compelling 12-5. I don't know if I like Oregon State enough to actually make a serious run, but I don't like Tennessee at all. I saw them in the SEC tournament not look great. They have bouts where they just look awful. And Oregon State can do enough, can score, can, obviously ran through the Pac-12. I think that could be interesting 12-5. And then I think Rutgers over Clemson. I think that, from a betting angle, the money's on Rutgers. So if you like Rutgers, get on it now. And be ready because I think that like right now it's -1. I think that gets up to 3 or 4 points by game time, maybe more.
Yeah, my first pick in this region was actually Rutgers over Clemson, as just kind of knowing what they've done the last couple of years and the way that they like to play that tough defense, and they prevent you from doing anything, and they have a big guy down low who could take over a game of Miles Johnson. Ron Harper Jr., Geo Baker is back healthy. Rutgers is a team to be reckoned with here. They may make some noise with the style that they like to play.
Yeah. Okay, so let's run through it like we have with all of the other ones. Who's your favorite to win the region?
How could it not be Illinois? I mean, has anyone been watching basketball?
You said this is going to be the crazy region. This is going to be where stuff gets wild. So if stuff,
I agree, but Illinois to me is easily either the not second best, but one of the top 4 teams in the country, and I don't see them tripping up to a Loyola team who plays a tremendous style of defense, or a Georgia Tech team who can give you all sorts of problems, because Illinois is going to do the same thing under Brad Underwood. And if Georgia Tech's not scoring, they don't have the firepower to keep up with what Illinois can do. And then they'd face potentially a matchup against Oklahoma State, who that is going to be the trendy pick here. But I cannot trust the team who, yes, he has a lot of pieces around him. They've beaten West Virginia without him, but Illinois also beat Michigan, who was ranked number 2 at the time, without Ayo Dosunmu. So Illinois with Dosunmu there, I think, is probably right behind Gonzaga as the second best team in the country. So give me Illinois out of this region.
So if not Illinois, then who? Who would be that team that you say Georgia Tech has the game of their life, hits a bunch of threes, plays incredible defense, and knocks Illinois out? who is that team that you think could be the team that represents this region in the Final Four?
I think it's Houston. Kelvin Sampson has had this Houston Cougars team right there every single year. If it wasn't for a Jordan Poole miraculous three, they're likely in the Final Four that year.
Yeah.
2 years, I think it was even last year, they were right up there. They were going to be a 2 or a 3 for like the third consecutive season. So this is a team that they're playing really good basketball this season. Ken Palm really likes them. They're ranked 6th in the Ken Palm ratings. They're 8th in offensive efficiency and 16th in defensive efficiency. So not necessarily something we want to look at in terms of, winning the championship. But, on that note, and this being the last recorded show, I was talking to Kyle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the last 8 national champions have finished in the top 10 in the Ken Palm rankings. So you're looking at Houston, they're right there at number 6. So I think out of the teams in that region, I think they offer up the best opportunity to come out of there if it's not Illinois.
I think that's interesting. I think if it's not Illinois, I don't know why, but I have this weird thing that we're going to see Oklahoma State play West Virginia again. I don't know why. I just that feel like, if you look at the past, like I don't like I like rooting for Syracuse, but I don't think they get past San Diego State. I think West Virginia has the best team. Obviously, Houston could knock them out, but I think West Virginia could get past Houston, and then it's just really Oklahoma State against Illinois, and I think they could make things interesting there. And Cade Cunningham could have a tournament. Now, you're probably right. Like, Illinois is, especially like the way they played against Ohio State, the way they played against Michigan, like they were incredibly impressive, and they really are probably the second best team. So I'm 100% with you there. But so either it's gonna, like, so it feels like it's either super chalky and it's always like 1 or 2 seeds to get there, or it's like chaos and it's a bunch of wild teams. So, the way we talked about Gonzaga, the way we talked about Illinois, probably Ohio State, like, is it going to be a chalk fest and everyone, all the elite teams are going to advance, or do you think we get some wonkiness?
I mean, I honestly, for me, when I pick the tournament, I want to win my pool, but I also want to pick something that I'm going to root for. So I almost never pick chalk. But if we're talking about who's going to do what, like, I got to try to be honest here. And I think this year more than ever, especially with what we've seen, I just think that these teams have set themselves apart. Now, we did talk, pre-recording that because we don't have very many out-of-conference games for these teams, it's going to be a lot of differences that these teams are going to see in terms of game styles, game flow, players' abilities, players' athletic abilities, the sizes of these guys, and coaching schemes. So it will be a little bit different. But, I think that this could be a very chalky tournament where we're seeing 1s and 2s in the Final Four.
Yeah. I mean, based on the conversations we had, I feel like that's kind of, we're both on the same page there.
It's
maybe
disgusting, but
yeah, but that's how it works sometimes. Who's going to be your favorite team to bet on in this region besides obviously Illinois?
It's probably going to be Houston. I think their first 2 games, they're going to be steamrolling their opponents, whether they face Rutgers or Clemson in the second round. I think Houston, shows their dominance in that game all leading into the Sweet 16.
Yeah, and I think we could see some interesting numbers, say against a West Virginia, and then obviously against Illinois. That could be fun. Who's going to be your favorite team to fade in this region?
I guess I got to do it, and I do it because I like to just be an a-hole to my local city. But honestly, it's San Diego State. I watch San Diego State a lot. I love San Diego State. I've gone to numerous games at Cox Arena down here. It's a great atmosphere. But playing an ACC opponent like Syracuse, who's really long and they like to play that 2-3 zone, and they're gonna bring a whole different style of defense that this Aztecs team has not seen yet. I think they are going to be upset by the Orange, who shouldn't even be here in this tournament.
Hey, the last time the Orange shouldn't even be here, Malachi Richardson pulled them to the Final Four. So crazier things have happened. I'd like to see that happen. I think they, if they get by San Diego State, I think they can beat West Virginia and Houston, and all of a sudden they're in the Elite Eight and things are getting wild. I thought for sure you were going to say Oklahoma State. I think that could be a fun team to fade. Liberty is a team that could make a lot of sense as a first round exit. There's a few MAC teams that I'm keeping an eye on as like, if they can win round one, they have a legit chance at going far, but they could also easily lose in round one and it doesn't matter, right? So I think they're very much in that bucket as well. Yeah, I'm gonna be really curious to see what the line is, assuming Illinois gets by Drexel against either Loyola Chicago or Georgia Tech, because I feel like both those teams are going to get too many points, and I'm probably going to be backing them. I don't know if I'm going to be on money line, but I think Loyola Chicago or Georgia Tech could be some nice value there. So I'm going to keep an eye on that as well. All right, Brian Twining. As I mentioned, make sure you go check out all the other regions. Make sure you check out our bracket challenge, which the link should be in the video description. Mash that thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe, all that good stuff. Brian and I will be back as the tournament rolls along to give you some of our favorite picks for the Sweet 16, the Elite 8, all that good stuff. Might try and pop on after the round of 64 to give you a few of the games we're going to be targeting. As always, check out our Twitter, Notorious KRO, Greasy Rules 14. Great place. If you have thoughts on bets, if you have thoughts on, teams you think could go far, let us know down in the comments. We'll always check out the comments. Also hit us up on Twitter for that. For Brian Twining, I'm Kyle Robert, and we'll talk to y'all next time.